What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Heath Mullikin Project, the podcast where we're helping you discover your purpose, your passion, and your possibilities. Thanks to everybody for again participating in the gratitude project over on the Facebook page at the Heath Mullikin Project. You can join us there, and when you're posting about your gratitude, make sure you use that hashtag gratitude project. So that's going to take us through January, but I wanted to let you know what we're going to be doing for February. Every month this year, there's a little bit of a different focus to help us work on ourselves, to help us become better, to help us get healthier emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, all the things. And so in the month of February, there's going to be a daily post with a quote from a book that I read during COVID. This is a book that I was reading when I started my daily gratitude practice. It is from, he's my favorite author. I would say, other than the Bible, this person, this is, one of the most influential authors of my life. It is Mark Batterson. This is his book, Win the Day. He's had a couple of books come out since then. Here's, Win the Day was such a helpful book. I get it, man. It was during COVID when crazy stuff was happening. I pre-ordered the book, got it when it came out. And this book talks about seven daily habits. And I will definitely tell you off the bat, okay, he does not reinvent the wheel here, okay? It's not like, this is not like a magic pill, a magic bullet. It's nothing like that. But he presents these ideas, these habits we know we need to have, He presents them in a way, the way that he words them, the way that he names them makes it very exciting. It makes each habit have this kind of like this aha moment. And it makes it, for me, it made it very adventurous. And you can see, I'll just show you, my copy of this book. I mean, that is every page. Every page you can see highlighted. Now, I want to say this. So in the month of February, I've been trying to do these weekly episodes. In February, because there's 7 habits, we're going to release 7 episodes in the month of February, each one talking about one of these habits. You do not have to. This is not a please buy the book or whatever. I do. Because, again, I just said a couple of weeks ago, you got all the tools you need. What I'm trying to do is, kind of give you some insight from this book on these 7 habits. If you want to buy this book, absolutely. There'll be a link in the show notes you can get through my Amazon link. But just trying to, without spoiling the book, without giving everything away, just some of my insights, some of my personal ways that I have put these 7 habits into practice. Certainly, my attitude is, if Mark Batterson wrote it, you should buy it. Just a super good dude. Have had the opportunity to interview him a couple times, had the opportunity to meet him, and still on my bucket list is the going to Ebenezer's Coffee and going to their church. That is something that is on my, that might be something I try to get done here this year for sure. So that's what we're going to be doing in February. Again, every day there's going to be a post on the Heath Mullikin Project that's going to be a quote from the book that is going to be meant to inspire you. Because here's the thing. January, we typically start off with a little bit of momentum, a little bit of extra incentive, a lot of energy. And then when we get to February, there's not as many people at the gym in February as there is in January. Matter of fact, I was talking to a friend. He said, I'm getting a gym membership this year, but I'm waiting until February. I'm waiting until it thins out. And that is absolutely true. I went to my gym on January 1st, and the number of people that were there signing up, getting signed up was crazy, as it often is. So again, February, the reason I wanted to do this book in February is to remind us, okay, hey, don't be discouraged if you're not reaching your goals. If if you didn't keep the streak alive, if you didn't keep the hope alive, every day is a fresh chance for a fresh start. And you might get to the end of January and be like, man, that was a total wash. That was a total waste. What do I do? Boom. 7 habits. And it's all about winning the day. And when I think about some of the most popular books of the last, the last couple of years, this obviously was a popular book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm pretty sure was a bestseller. So many people who I have followed have moved from different aspects of a niche to now the niche seems to be personal development, coaching, productivity, those types of things. One other thing I'll tell you about Win the Day, and I think they still have it, is they actually developed a planner, which I think I got a sample of the planner, and I just am. I have bought. I mean, if you're watching this, you may have heard of the Full Focus Planner. I've tried lots of different planners, and I do not do well consistently with a physical planner. Now, I am incorporating better weekly and daily, just writing a few things down. But I use Outlook, as my calendar. I have my big wall calendar. But you got to figure out, what works for you. And I think, but again, the planner for this kind of took you through those daily habits of just kind of checking, just checking things off and just kind of seeing where you were tracking. For me this year, I kind of had 2 lists, things I wanted to do less and things I wanted to do more. And so that's kind of where I'm measuring my days is, okay, where was the balance there? The things that I want to do more, did I do that today? And the things I wanted to do less, did I do that less? That's pretty simple. But again, you got to figure out what works for you. Life is not one size fits all. So productivity is not one size fits all. It's just not. You have to figure out what is best for you, what works for you. I think one of the things that's kind of mind-blowing to me or frustrating to me is I feel like so many of the thought leaders or gurus or whatever you want to call them, I feel like they're coming up with ideas and routines for other gurus and thought leaders. Like, I feel like, oh yes, my morning routine is I get up and I meditate for an hour, and then I exercise for an hour, and then I do a 10-minute cold plunge, and then I do an hour of stretching, and then it's time for breakfast, and this is what I eat for breakfast, and then I do 3 hours of writing, and I'm like, bro, do you have a job? Like, do you have a job that you got to be at 8 to 10 hours a day? Do you have a family you're trying to provide for? Do you have a life, period? Like, do you have a church? Do you have a small group like most normal people? cannot have a 3-hour morning routine, right? And so that's why it's so important. What are the habits? Now, I know I'm in a season right now where I can go pedal to the metal. Right now, I'm in a season where if I want to exercise for an hour in the morning before work, I can do that. And if I want to exercise for an hour at night, I can do that. I'm in a season, I'm in an empty nester season where I have a lot of different options. Where if I, still had young children or were not single, I would not be able to do. I would have to make those adjustments. So don't judge your life based on the habits and practices of somebody who doesn't have the same life as you. I read, great book by Gwen Jackson, Unforced Rhythms. It's from Wesleyan Publishing House. And it's basically about, not every, you always hear, oh, you need to do your devotions every day and journal and all this. And the whole premise of her book is like, we're all different. And don't beat yourself up. We're all trying to be more like Jesus. Right? And the way that we do that, it's a lot of the same practices. It's a lot of the same habits. But how we implement those and how we do those are as different as each of us are. And so I found that book very encouraging. And I think what happens is we come up with, and again, that, you got to be very cautious, even going through a great book like this. Well, man, Tuesday I only did 4 of these 7 habits. And I'm just terrible. I stink. I think what you'll find in this book is these are habits that when you start doing them, you'll want to do. That so many of them have to do with up here, right? So many of them have to do with our mindset, where we are mentally. And I think that's where we got to start. You got to start with your head and your heart. If you can get your head and your heart on the same page, that's when the magic happens. So many times our head knows what we need to be doing, knows where we need to be going, knows all of that. Maybe our heart's not into it. And then there's other times, man, our heart is overflowing. It is ready to go, but our minds are not prepared. And so there's this, we just feel off kilter. We feel off balance. We feel kind of out of place. And when your heart and your head and your habits and your hands, this is the old, the Wesleyan, when the Wesleyan Church had the spiritual formation department, that was the thing, is it was about bringing our hearts, our hands, our heads, and our habits into alignment. And that's really what this is all about. I mean, we were on to something there. Is those things, when those things are in alignment, when they're one, that's when some really great things happening. When we're living out what's going on inside of us. And we're being a good Christian example to those around us. And it just keeps feeding in to us. And I'd add a 5th H. When you're doing those things, you're getting healthy. So I'm excited to go on this journey with you. This is all about a journey. We're just on a journey. We're just trying to figure this out. I'm not the dude that's figured it all out. I'm the dude that's trying to figure it all out. So we can figure it all out together. And when I say figure it all out, we're not trying to find all the answers, because I think the fun part about life is looking for those answers. When you turn life into an adventure, that it's not necessarily this destination we're trying to find, it's a journey that's meant to be experienced. Like, the way that I look at my life now is I'm not looking, there's not like a finish line. Like, it's every day doing these things that make me feel alive and getting healthy physically and emotionally and spiritually so I can feel alive and be alive for as long as I can and enjoy as many moments as possible. And I have spent a lot of my life just drudging through life and not sucking the marrow out of life. And it was time for that to change. It was time for that to change. And so I know there's so many people who are just sleepwalking through life. You're just going from one day to the next. And I really believe, I really believe there's an awakening happening. And I think it's people who have almost been zombified by so many different things. We've been zombified. And it's time to wake up. It's time to smell the roses. And it's time to do things that we enjoy doing. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be days that we got to do things we don't necessarily like. We got to do things that aren't necessarily fun, but that's part of the journey. That is part of life. But along the way, you got to figure out those habits. You got to figure out those things that make you feel alive and keep you alive as long as you can. Again, it's just a project. This is just a project. And, I think life is meant to be a group project. I think my life, your life, we're meant to do life in community. Growth happens when people are speaking into our lives and when we're speaking into other people's lives. And I hope that this podcast is speaking into your life. I hope it's encouraging you. I hope that it is something you look forward to. I hope it's making you think about something. I hope it is sparking something that is making you search for your purpose, your passion, and the possibilities that God has for you. Again, February, we're going to be hitting this book together, looking at these 7 habits that Mark Batterson goes through and making them stick, getting them better, and being who God created us to be. So thanks so much for your support. Don't forget, if you haven't already gone to the Facebook page, the Heath Mullikin Project, make sure you give that a like and a follow. We also have a group, and I'm still figuring all this social media stuff out, but just trying to be as helpful as I can be to you and to those around you. So God bless, and we'll see you soon.